Well, this hunt here is turning into be an annual event for us. And what I do is I invite usually out-of-state friends to come to Montana, apply for the general elk tag, and let's just go out on the public lands and hunt general elk. We're in a spot I've never been to. I don't think anyone in our crew has ever hunted here before. A lot of us have driven by or we've been over here doing other stuff. I call my buddy Beau Baty, who owns Wilderness Ridge Trail Llamas. You've seen us with his llamas on a lot of our hunts. Beau is very adamant that he gets to set up the whole camp because in his other business, in the summertime, that's what he does. That's the bull way over there. He's not that high up.
It's just right.
He's below our elevation, I think.
Or equal.
Or equal.
Just about
yeah.
right in those.
In our calendar, this falls into what we call late season. We know that the elk, if we can find them, are probably going to be in bachelor groups, anywhere from 4 to 8 bulls in a group. I bet you we could kill him by this afternoon if we started walking now, or maybe right at dark. But it's going to be a ton of fun. We have 4 days.
You think he's going to come out?
Did he disappear?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure he's probably been educated. Matt's excited to shoot a bull. And about, what, 45 minutes ago, right at daylight?
Yeah.
They saw a bull over here. So we're gonna drive over there. We think he went down in this timbered basin to bed for the day. And we're gonna shoot him. So we jump in our rigs, drive down, start walking in there, thinking, oh, well, we'll get to the back end of this basin by noon, maybe. You can see a lot of foot traffic. You can see there's been a lot of hunters here.
And when I threw up my binoculars, like, oh, 7 bulls. Well, one of them looks really big.
There's 3 of them there.
4, 5, 6, 7. Those are all bulls.
They look like bulls.
Yeah. 7 bulls.
How many?
7.
7 bulls? I mean, one of them is the kind of bull you do not expect to see on an over-the-counter, general, high-pressured area like this. There's at least 3 in there that are 6 point. About 20 minutes later, all of a sudden, we see a group of, I counted 5 bulls disappear down into this other drainage just to the, I guess it would be the east of where this group of 7 had went in. And then up above, here comes a group of cows. And the group of cows have a whole bunch of spikes in there. And I think it has 2 legal branch antler bulls in there. And they disappear down into this drainage. There's 2 legal bulls in it. Yeah. Maybe this is a gift we're being given, so let's take advantage of it.
And then we saw some hunters going down through the bottom, and the way that they were traveling, the wind was going to travel up and hit those elk.
I think on this ridge? Yeah, on this ridge. They just went right through the
They what?
Huh?
They did what?
They went right into the dark timber.
The closest dark timber? Oh, they're following that trail. Like,
Oh, man. So if we're gonna make a move, we better do it now.
We're just gonna parallel in case they spook those elk. We want to be up higher. So we're hustling to get on our way here. What's that? The hunters?
beat them up there.
We'll be up there way before they are. We go to the edge of the timber where we'd saw the bull right at daylight. You can see really fresh tracks. Guess what? There's more than one elk here. While we're going through this timber, you and Marcus go ahead. 100 yards.
We're getting closer. And we'll have to go up here 200 yards to the ridge though. We don't want to, a lot of blue downs in here in elevation. We don't want to lose elevation at the climb again, so.
one of the camera guys with us, he's like, I thought I saw an elk bedded over there, but I'm not sure. And so I break out the spotting scope and I look, and here's the back half of an elk. That was a hell of a spot, Adam. I don't know how he did it. He's joking around. He's wearing these new Leupold sunglasses. He says, oh, I got these 1-power binoculars with me.
Yeah, I just went like, oh, there's Beau.
Here's what we're gonna do. Beau's gonna stay here, keep an eye on him. Matt is gonna go and try to shoot one of these two. And I'm kind of gonna be the fallback guy. If I have to, I'll go way around the back end and see if I can kind of protect the escape route. The first thing we got to do though is let these guys who are walking the trail way down below us clear through. We don't want to go and have them see what we're up to or give them the idea that, hey, there's some elk right above you guys.
There's one, I see him. What do you think to do? Get to this, get behind that tree. Sit underneath that tree.
And right after they got set in, the elk started feeding out. And I was trying to give all sorts of smoke signals, telling them what was going on.
Matt looks through the binos. He says, I think Beau is telling us they're up. He's doing this, like they're up feeding up and over the ridge.
We're hoping they'd get up and feed out this way, but they're feeding around where the other elk went this morning. So they got the going into the wind, and we're gonna get up to the top of the ridge here, and we'll have a chance of those two and all the ones we saw this morning.
We make this big loop around the ridge, thinking, all right, where are they? They gotta be here somewhere. This isn't a huge ridge and this isn't a huge patch of timber. They're here somewhere. We saw 2 bulls on this ridge and can't find them. If we get up there, hopefully we can just pick it apart all day.
And all of a sudden, those hunters that we saw in the morning were on the saddle, and the wind was blowing straight towards those elk. And all those elk started running down.
So we're sitting there and we're watching and we're glassing and have the spotters out. And Matt looks over at Beau and he said, Beau's giving us the hand signal to come back this way. I'm like, what do you mean? We were just there an hour ago.
There's 4 bulls, they started running down right into range for me. I'm like, this is great.
I don't know. We know there's 2 bulls between us and Beau, but they've been in a spot that's just impossible to get to, so. And we hear a shot, and we look, and Beau is laying in the prone position. Beau was waving us like, hey, come over here. Then we just heard him shoot. Heard him shoot again. And I'm watching Beau through my spotter to see what he's doing.
I'm having a hard time understanding how the elk is still in range. It's still in view.
And we can see he's shooting down. So the elk, we must have bumped them and they must be coming down below him. You could see the blast. A second or two later, you'd hear the he's looking over to our right where he was aiming. Shot again. See him get up. I see him spinning with his dials, messing with his scope. Well, what ends up happening, we find out after the fact, is Beau hits the bull on the first 2 shots, and then he moves to get a better shooting angle.
And when I go to move, I'm going uphill and I'm so excited that I slip on a tree root that I was sitting on that was kind of making a nice bench for me to shoot. And I trip and my gun flips around my hand and falls and hits a rock right on the scope. Oh, no.
He's smiling.
You got it?
Pretty sure. He is smiling so big. Why is he sitting back down?
He's just getting up and smiling.
Taking cell phone pictures.
And so I'm like, this is just not gonna work. My scope's broke. I gotta go figure out something else to do. So I pack up all my stuff and I head down the ridge, same path that Randy and Matt and Adam and Marcus took.
So Adam and I are gonna go over and give him a hand. And Matt and you, Marcus, are gonna sit over here where these 40 or 50 elk disappeared this morning. And you're gonna kill elk number 2 today.
I'll get on this side in case I need to shoot that way. We put some elk to bed in here this morning. A group of 7 bulls and then about 30 cows and a couple raghorns. So we're gonna sit here and hopefully pick them out of the timber as they get out of their beds and come up here to feed.
Dude, it makes me feel bad those guys didn't get them. Dude, it's kind of hard not to feel selfish right now because I'm not supposed to be the guy hunting.
Sometimes that's the way it works out.
So if we would have stayed right at this tree we were at here.
That's why when I signaled you guys down, because if you would have came down, you would have seen him crest over the top probably from up there. And I did poof, poof. And then he tumbled and I ran uphill, fell, and I was like, crap. So thanks for coming down.
Yeah.
So Randy, you're not ticked at me for shooting him? You're not ticked at me for shooting him?
If we're here to kill elk, Beau. It doesn't matter who kills them.
Oh yeah, I owe you guys a dinner.
No, I don't. There's not an elk I could have shot that would have given me any greater pleasure and satisfaction than to see Beau standing there with that elk, just looking at it as if somehow he'd been handed a gift. And I think he had. And I think we all felt that way.
We cut up the elk, quartered them out, skinned them, got all the meat.
Hung it in the tree, did all the protocols for bears and stuff the best we could.
Any second now. Sit down here in class for 10 minutes and probably call it a night. So we got up at daylight and got up there and got Beau's bull taken care of and all loaded up. Marcus and I just decided to keep going up a mile through the pass, and it was a beautiful view. You could see for miles and miles, and it just looked really elky. And we hunkered down under some trees. It was pretty windy, and just started glassing and picking this area apart. So I've been hunting pretty much my whole life. Grew up in Washington chasing blacktails and duck hunting there. Got to move to Montana in 2001 and jump right into elk hunting and antelope and mule deer and everything else. It just so happened as we were glassing through one of those breaks in the fog, just a big old bull was standing out there. You can see its body, yellow body, just shining in the sun. And I was like, Marcus, there's an elk, get the spotter. We counted 4 and then 5 and maybe 6 bulls in there, kind of feeding around and going back up in the timber to bed. We got the fog rolling through here and we've been sitting up there for about half an hour, kind of being able to glass here and there. And I saw one bull walk out in a little opening and we got the spotter, and 6 bulls have walked out now, and now they're completely covered by fog. But we're gonna drop down. We got 2.5 miles or so to get over there, and we got 5 hours of daylight. So we're gonna go get set up on them. There's moose tracks, elk, deer everywhere. This is a spot you can't get to very easily. It's 2 to 3 miles from any trailhead and you gotta go uphill. So it's really good habitat back here. They're loving it. We got 6 or 7 bulls I think we spotted, and like 20 cows up there. They're all out feeding still. It's 1:30. So we got about 1.3 miles as a crow flies, but we got to weave through here and up and over a ridge, so close to 2 miles. And we had the wind just right then, and so we kind of circled around, came up a hillside where we would have an angle to look back in that little sage flat where they were feeding and where we hoped they were going to come back out. We put a marker where the elk were, about 446 yards, where they were all feeding. So we just gotta get up to that tree. We got up there and it was pretty sunny out still, and there were some cows actually bedded that we didn't know about up a little higher. So we decided to just hunker down for about 20 to 30 minutes and just wait for that sun to go behind the hill. So when we crawled over, we wouldn't be kind of spotlighted and shining in the sun. We just got up there. It got pretty exciting. You get that little adrenaline going and you're starting to make that crawl up, dragging your pack behind you. The bulls weren't out yet, but the cows were up feeding. They weren't too worried about us. All of a sudden, first bull walks right out. They're coming down the timber. See if he's legal. There's 3 bulls out there, and I'm like, that one looks big enough. Just after a bull, and a nice 5-point was standing there. Ready?
Yeah. Let's get a good range.
318.
Does he hit it? But I can tell.
I'm watching him.
There's one on the left, one on the left, facing straight towards it.
Yep.
Facing to the left. Sound like a hit. He's down. He's down.
That was it. We had our bull down. Look at all those bulls. And we were pretty excited to get over there and check him out. And actually 9 other bulls ran out so there had been 10 bulls in there, which is pretty awesome. And he was about the biggest one in there. We got an elk.
Wow.
So we got the bull all quartered up. You know, got all the back straps, the neck meat, all the tenderloins, aging it for a couple days and then butchering it all at home. You know, do a lot of steak and hamburgers, sausage and stuff as well for the family.
With Matt having taken an elk, and now Beau has an elk, we got 2 bulls in 2 days. This is crazy. This does not happen on public land in these highly pressured units.
You really got one? Freak yeah, dude. Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Got up, snuck up on him.
8 bulls, you said on the
10.
message? No way. I was really excited for Matt. He's so eager and such a nice guy and hard worker. I was just so excited to see him get an elk.
Woo! How was it, Matt?
I'm back.
You're back.
You said not to come back.
Right, I said don't come back without an elk.
Got one.
The evening was just a fun camp. Sit around the wood stove and tell big stories and hear Matt explain what happened and Marcus give his version of events of what happened. And to me, these kind of camps are so much of what makes hunting. So with Matt having taken an elk, now we got another elk that we got to get out of there. And Matt and Marcus tell me, Randy, you need to come with us to retrieve this elk because someone else will kill a bull in there.
All right, roll tide, baby.
It sure sounds like a lot of fun, and I want to see this spot where Matt shot the elk, so yeah, I'm game. Beau and those llamas are just, they're inseparable. And anytime Beau gets to haul elk out with his llamas, he's excited.
We got up there, it was beautiful.
We're just sitting around the fire glassing and looking over all this country. Matt looks out there, he's like, there's an elk out there. And he looks through the spotter, he's like, there's 2 elk, 3 elk, 4 elk. And he starts counting them.
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Now 14 elk now. Have walked out and they're starting to feed out and open.
What I see in there is 6 spikes, 6 cows, 1 cow being in heat. This cow is being harassed to no end. Obviously, she's a late cycle. And she's probably the only late cycle cow in the entire mountain range. And all these young bulls are thinking, lucky us, look at this. And a 5-point trying to steal her from everybody. And a raghorn.
1, 2, 3, big bulls.
Big 5-point bulls. I looked at Marcus and Adam, I'm like, you guys ready? We drop down this hill. It's way steeper than it looks. Topo lines, for some reason, are deceiving. Imagine if all you had to hunt elk with was your teeth. Sounds like a dangerous proposition. And there's this finger of dark timber. I don't want to go in there because I'm going to lose sight of everything, but it's really our best bet. That bull's just right over here, about 600 yards. I'm going to sneak through these trees up above him. Hopefully I can find an opening and find him down below. I start easing out through this grass where the timber ends. I sneak a little bit forward And now I can see the cow. The one cow that has attracted all the attention, she's standing up and she's got the smaller 5-point there. And I look slightly over to the left about 40 yards and I can see the bigger 5-point walking over to the cow and the other 5-point. I'm like, well, this is good. That's the smaller one. The big one is coming. And they're kind of pushing each other back and forth, and the cow's looking at them like, you boys okay? You know, it's November. Both Lego balls are right there. Yeah. Oh, they're jousting. You ready? Yeah. I'm watching. I'm like, he's got to be around here somewhere. Where did he go? I know I drilled him. There he fell over. Saw him fall right there. The culmination of a week has just come to me. The biggest one in the group, the one we were waiting for. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. All these bulls have been killed in areas that are definitely sanctuaries, where distance and topography keep people from coming in here. Start taking care of the elk and it's starting to get dark. And just in perfect time, here comes Matt and Beau.
Shot him while he was fighting.
Uh-huh. You watch that?
Oh yeah.
Leading this string of llamas right to us, talking and cheering. Hey, yeah, we watched it.
Randy, Marks, and Adam had the elk cut up, ready to go for us, and we just brought the llama Uber right up next to Randy's elk.
And I'm just walking out, reflecting, just thinking about how lucky I am. I hope 50 years from now, there are hunters walking these same trails in the full moon with an elk on their back or an elk on a horse or a llama, thinking the same thing, thinking how special it is that we get to do this in this country. And I hope they get to share it with the same kind of amazing friends that I have that I got to share this hunt with. It's my 55th birthday today. I spent it with 4 of the coolest guys I could ever hang out with on the birthday. My buddy Beau Baty shot a really big bull elk when you consider it's a highly pressured public land general unit. And we're sitting in his wall tent next to a nice warm fire with the lanterns hissing, eating chocolate cake.